Hey everyone, Brian Beeler coming to you from the Storage Review Lab and Conference Center here. And it actually starts to look like a conference center with all these thin clients set up. We've been talking a lot about end user computing lately. We've talked to Teradici about it. We've talked to IGEL about it. And today we're going to talk to LG about it because we've been using their equipment the last several weeks throughout our lab here. And Tom out in the Pacific Northwest lab has been using one of their all-in-ones as well. And they're really just great little devices, or in these cases with the all-in-ones, all-inclusive devices, and they let you get a really cool compute experience to your remote workforce or local workforce as they come back to the office in a thin client with all the security, all the benefits that are inherent in thin clients. And they look good, and the white one here, for instance, is tailored to medical environments. It's got special features. We'll get into all of that. But the whole world of thin client computing is entirely different than the way I used to think about it truly before we got some of these dropped off. Tom, I'm going to bring you in here. You've got the white one over your shoulder there as well, too. You've been playing with that thing. What's at a high level? What are you seeing at LG?
Yeah, really. I mean, LG's always been known for putting out a quality product, and this is definitely no exception. It's performed very well. When I test things, I really test them. I actually use them for a couple of weeks as my main workstation, and this guy has performed flawlessly. It's has a beautiful LG display on it, easy to set up with the iGel that we talked about in the paper that we did on it, and very impressed with it. And then some of the neat features that you can tell it was designed for a hospital environment, healthcare situation.
Well, that one's got the RFID reader. It's got the screw-on power thing. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Again, we'll get into all that. What are we even waiting for? Let's bring in PJ from LG. PJ, thanks for joining us. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
And you're up in the Pacific Northwest as well, so you guys have got a 2-to-1 advantage, although I've got the Achilles Smith advantage from your Oregon Ducks. Although advantage, maybe not. But everyone knows LG in their homes, or they've been in the computer business before. I mean, this isn't entirely new, but give us the download on why end user computing and why this space is so important to the company.
Yeah, thanks. Just to touch on, we at LG, we are definitely known for our appliances, our TVs, our mobile capabilities. But as we look at our opportunity to grow as a company in the B2B space, we see huge demand, especially more so after COVID hit us. And we've seen a huge demand for people working from home, being able to go back to a hybrid offering and work from the office. And we see more and more organizations looking at total cost of ownership, how they are securing the devices, how they maintain the devices. And it's just a seamless transition for the corporate space, the healthcare space, the government space, to go with a secure thin client device versus a fat client. So we continue to see more and more growth, both with our what we call our zero clients, but also with our thin clients, both on the mobile side and also on the all-in-one side, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can hit on some of that now. So we've got, let's see, this is the 24-inch here and a 34-inch all-in-one, but you have a wide portfolio of those. We talked a little bit about this one being a little more tailored to medical with RFID reader and some of those things that are important to that space and the wipe down ability. But just give us an overview of the all-in-one and talk a little bit about why that's important. I mean, from my view, when I think about supporting a remote workforce and you think about, gosh, how many times have we had jobs in our lives? I know I have, where you show up for work and they're like, here's your PC, and it's some garbage like business PC that's a laptop that's probably lived through 3 sales guys and,
Sure.
and it's an awful experience. But I'm thinking about if I'm at home or even in the office, like people coming back, whatever, you drop this thing off on my desk, I'm feeling a little bit better about my work environment and having access to leading edge tech. I mean, that's my view on all-in-one. I'm sure yours is similar. Tell us more about
Yeah,
that.
and you're looking at the 34 inch behind you. That's a pretty amazing display, right? When we look at multitasking. But when we looked at the market as a whole, we looked at trying to offer a good, better, best strategy. And we offer a box type solution, right, for the customers that already have existing monitors and they want to have a VDI or desktop as a service capabilities within their infrastructure. We have a box type solution that can plug into a monitor and then you can get that experience. But where we really hang our hat is on the IPS panel. And what IPS stands for is interplane switch. So it's our proprietary technology that's built into our display today, which you can actually get with the 24 inch you're looking at now, or even the 34 inch. But we really want to offer a complete solution, either on the box type or the all-in-one. But we've taken it a step further. We've listened to the customers over the years, and we said, how can we better the experience for you as the customer? Because you're used to having the different interfaces, the webcam experience, the bigger footprint from a display. And we've incorporated that into our all-in-one display. So when we go and talk to customers, we listen to their pain points. And a lot of it has to do with connectivity, has to deal with power consumption and maintaining the devices and security, obviously. And we really believe that we touch on all of those with our all-in-one device today.
Well, it's interesting because you do that, but it's not expensive, and I don't want to diminish the engineering that's going into these devices. But I think this guy is, I don't know, a little less than $1,000 for an all-in-one with that kind of screen on it. That's what people pay for displays, without anything else involved. I mean,
Right.
that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and one thing we talk about, as we look, and it's really powerful when we start looking at the numbers, when you look at deployments and how many people are looking at doing refreshes, if it's 500,000, whatever the number is, they start looking at the total cost of ownership and what is entailed on having a monitor and then on top of that having another device connected to that monitor.
Hmm.
So we are seeing more and more organizations, if it's healthcare, if it's education, if it's the corporate space, they're saying, you know what, why would I want to continue to invest in additional monitors, which I'm going to kick to the curb in 3 to 5 years, when I could go with an all-in-one with a life expectancy of 7+ years. So you've got everything built into one display. All you need is a keyboard and mouse, and away you go.
Right, and you get a serviceability advantage there too, in a lot of ways. Because I know, like Tom, we were talking about this guy for medical use cases. We've all been in a doctor's office, and you kind of look at the thing. It's on a Visa mount or an arm, and then there'll be something strapped to the back of it for the computer part, and then there'll be like accessories like the HID device or some, all sort of bolted on and velcroed to this thing. From a support standpoint, I mean, you can just unplug this, rip it out, drop the new one in, log in, and you're good to go, right?
Yeah, and in healthcare setting, that is so important, especially hospitals where you might not have the IT people on staff. Something goes bad, you don't try and diagnose the component, just pull the dang thing out, put a new one in, you're up and running. I mean, non-technical people, even doctors could do that, right?
I don't know. Some of the doctors I've met are the self-professed system admins. I think they would say. So PJ, from a usability standpoint and manageability standpoint, I know we've talked a lot with IGEL. What is it doing for you guys in terms of the software piece to deploy, to manage, to provision, and how does that fit with your hardware first modality?
Yeah, so first of all, our relationship with IGEL is tremendous, right? We've worked together closely with them with their IGEL Ready program to partner with them going into the channel, right? Showing a complete ecosystem solution. So we, from hands down, that it's a great opportunity for both of us to elevate our game into the channel all the way down to the end user. But when we look at the business today and where we see growth opportunity, it's with the Linux offering. Hence the reason why we partner with IGEL and their robust management console. So we're very excited about where the future is going. We see a huge growth opportunity when you look at Windows versus Linux, and with the fact that IGEL is probably ranked number top three in the market globally from an operating system management perspective,
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
bodes well to partner with them and also collaborate with the innovation of LG's hardware.
Yeah, and Tom, we looked at some of that management aspect with iGel in our last video, and we'll be sure to link to that in the description for this one. But that you can't downplay the value or the importance of the management side of it. They've done a good job to just make it dead simple, right?
Oh yeah. Um, I was able to, get it set up and running with their FastPass program, some other things. It just took a few minutes, and then because of iGel's UMS, you can download policies. These are policy-driven devices now. You don't need to go to each one and configure it separately. You just say this group of devices, I want to do this. Set one policy up, and they're again, simplicity is really the name of the game here, and between LG and their all-in-one device and iGel and their UMS, it just makes it dead simple to use these things.
Well, I mean, you're talking about that from a usability standpoint. You've got a Windows desktop behind you, whether it's Linux, it doesn't make any difference. The process for running the iGel OS on the LG device and then making that connection, I don't know, what are you even connected to for that? Are you in the some Horizon environment, or was it an AWS cloud unit?
Yeah, this one is using Horizon, but I also tried it with. I tried it with AWS. I did try it with some of the other DASs,
Hmm.
and again, just it with iGel, it just kind of works. It was really nice. Citrix, no problem at all.
We
Well, and
always,
it,
yeah,
yeah,
sorry,
I
go
don't want
ahead.
to get like too into the basics, but like you're just pushing the pixels over the wire, and that unit that's on your desk, someone breaks in, steals it, whatever, you're not going to lose any information because they can't gain access to it. It's a lot different than if you had a hard drive or an SSD with your data on there. That if it was left in a cab, if a mobile unit or whatever, there's a bit of risk there that you can mitigate with this type of deployment.
Yeah, but you're so 1990s, Brian. We don't care about data. What we care about now
What with my
is
taxi cab reference?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, what we care about now is ransomware, right? And if you
Yeah,
have a,
absolutely.
a physical desktop on everyone's home residency now, and they aren't secured correctly, and you're gonna get infected. And, ransomware is just nasty.
Well, I mean, we've seen it ravage the NAS segment in the last year and a half, and yeah, I mean, for every device you have that's online, you're at some degree of risk for infiltration, which is unfortunate. All right, so Philip, we've talked a little bit about the all-in-ones, which are Tom and I have agreed are sort of universally pretty great in terms of what they do. I've got this other fella sitting here too, a little bit more traditional in the deployment. What's LG's take or commitment to these types of form factors too, and when it comes to thin or zero clients?
Yeah, and by the way, I have to say, with the challenges that we're seeing in the market, right, with shortages, chip shortages, and everything else, we're seeing a huge uptick in that specific model, which is the CL600. We have a lot of our competitors are in this space too, and the fact that LG's got a strong brand name and the fact that we're shipping at a decent price point is been very done very well for us over the last 6 months. But our positioning with that specific model is really to target customers that already have existing monitors and they're looking at doing a VDI experience or a desktop as a service experience. And they want to go ahead and participate and look at implementing and deploying thin clients, but they're not truly ready for an all in one. So, we look at competing against, the likes of Dell, HP, and so forth. And we go after that market pretty heavily with our CL600 and we literally look at that as an opportunity to open the door when it comes
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
us getting into the space. And then over time, as the tech refreshes happen and the budgets free up, it's a great opportunity for us to also entertain our all-in-ones too on top of the box type. solution.
Yeah, I mean, even just looking at this guy, it's got dual display port on the back, SFP. You've got a USB-C, a bunch of USB ports, onboard LAN. I mean, it's pretty impressive what you're able to squish into these things these days.
Don't you make one of those that's also industrial grade for being out in the shop floor, things like that, that's heavily ruggedized?
So it's that's the only model we have today, CL600.
Okay.
But I would say that we do offer we do have a CK500 model, which is a more ruggedized, I'd say, metal framing
Yeah.
solution. So we do offer that one, but based on where the market's been going and the form factor and the feature sets, the CL600 has been driving that business on the desktop side for a while now.
So it's an impressive set of offerings. You've got a diverse offering, just what's sitting on our desk right here. What's next from a hardware standpoint for LG in this space?
Well, I always like to say bigger is better, but yeah, so footprint wise, we are looking at continuing to listen to the customers and figure out what the next size is, right? So today we offer on the all-in-one size, we offer a 24-inch, a 27-inch, and a 34-inch, and a 38-inch all-in-one display. So we are looking at seeing where the market goes, see what the applications are delivering, and potentially look at a bigger footprint down the road from a size perspective. Now, when we look
Wait,
at
bigger than 38 inches?
yeah, why can't we go 49-inch desktop monitors
No,
anymore on
you
the trading
can
floor?
go nuts. You guys have those nice OLED panels. Why not keep going?
Exactly. So, we all kidding aside, we on our desktop monitor side, we ship all the way up to a 49-inch today on the
Right, right.
desktop. So just envision a trader on the floor that has got their ticker going and they're doing multitasking. That's what we're seeing in the market today in the different verticals. People are looking at the standard. I mean, the standard size 5 years ago, or maybe even 3 years ago, was 24-inch was the go-to. Well, not anymore. Depending on applications, 27-inch is usually the standard, and a
Mhm.
lot of people are now looking at 32 and 34-inch as their go-to size of choice.
Well, I mean, we talked a lot about the white fellow here in the medical use case. This one I used for a little while myself too, and there's just a tremendous productivity advantage to having two screens side by side, to be able to have your Google Docs on one window and your mail on another, or whatever, so that you can be functional with two different applications at once. It's a huge productivity boost.
And that's what we're seeing. You just nailed it, right? I mean, you've got one
Mhm, mhm.
34-inch sitting back there, but if you looked at daisy chaining and having two 34 inches on your desktop,
Now we're talking.
now we're talking. And
Yeah.
that's what we're seeing more and more today in the environment. People are looking at a 34-inch or a dual 34-inch, depending on what their day-to-day environment and what their work environment looks like. So yes.
Well, I mean, you've converted us. So when we started, we hadn't seen any of the LG product. Now we've seen a bunch of it, and we're super impressed with what you've done. Looking forward to what's coming next. And Tom, the good news is I'm going to put this 34-inch in a box and send it up to you tomorrow. I think to start to play with, because I know you were missing out on that opportunity.
And did you see the look in my eye when I saw that big guy there? Yeah, that's going to be fun to play with, work with. Like I say, I use him as my desktop system for a couple of weeks. I'm going to enjoy that extra workspace. I'll probably daisy chain this guy up to use it in portrait mode and that one in landscape.
There you go. You can read all your legal documents on the twisty
We
way.
can't talk about that, Brian.
Yeah,
Agree.
Well, one thing before I forget,
yeah.
we talk about what's coming in the future. Um, we at LG, we believe in innovation, and we have a product called the Gram laptop, and we've been shipping it in the market for a while. It's the lightest laptop in the market. We ship a 14, 15, and a 17-inch flavor. We are looking at bringing to the market. We currently offer a 15-inch, but we're looking at multiple sizes that will be partnering with IGEL, and we'll be offering a thin client laptop to the market. So as people are looking at going mobile and be able to go to and from the office, they could have the luxury of a LG Gram laptop, which If you didn't know, you thought you actually forgot it because it's not in your bag. At least you don't think because it's so light. But that's the future. We see huge uptick in mobile, and we'll continue to invest in that too.
And just like that, we're back to my taxi example. So if you leave your brand new Gram in there, you'll be sad, and your IT guys will be a little angry that you just lost that piece of kit. But you will not lose your data.
Yeah. Hey, let me interject here real quick before I forget. Is that one of the problems we have in the VDI world is with Zoom conferencing things, because it sucks up a lot of CPU power on the virtual desktop side. And so I got this guy set up with multimedia redirection with my Horizon workspace. And the CPUs on these things, I mean, powerful enough to run the Zoom application locally rather than on that virtual desktop. So, thumbs up for putting a decent processor in this guy so you can do things like that.
Tom, while you were talking, I pulled the camera out. This guy's got the camera embedded in it, which is kind of neat. You can push it down when you don't want it in use,
No way.
or lift it up to get the embedded camera. So that is a good point, since we're all spending hours a day anymore on the conferencing apps.
Yeah, lucky us.
Well, we're just in closing, over a year ago, LG had canceled our biggest event, which was HIMSS, which was in Orlando. We fast forward to looking at August 9th, which we are going to be in Vegas at HIMSS.
Yeah, you're
So
back
it's
on.
we're back on, and we will be in the IGEL Pavilion, and we also have a booth, a 20 by 20 booth, showcasing the products you see behind you.
Hey, be sure to print out a report and hand it out to people as they walk by. I'm sure they're going to want to read that, where we talk in depth about the 24-inch model specifically, but how it works with iGel, all the benefits, all the security, how it gets deployed. Tom goes through all of that in detail. So if you want to learn more about that, we'll have the link in the description here for the video. We'll have a link to the LG iGel page. I think we've got it covered. PJ, anything else in parting?
No, just looking forward to a future when it comes to thin clients and our partnership with iGel. Sky's the limit for both of our businesses.
No, absolutely. Like I said, we're impressed, and looking forward to seeing what comes next. And we will hold you to that Gram as soon as you get some of those in hand to ship them out and have us take a look at them.
Done deal. I'll make sure that put a note on there. Do not leave it in the taxi.
All right. Everyone, thanks for checking out the video. Like I said, links are in the description if you want to learn more. And until next time, thanks for tuning in.